What is up, YouTube? That's here today. We're back to more Patreon VGC Reg team fixing. We're taking a look at a super cool team that uses Kyogre, Tornadus with a little bit of Zacian on sort of like a really cool tailwind mode. Like I said, this is Patreon team fixing where people send me their teams, ask for my help, and I do everything in my power to fix these teams, give them back, and make them the best team they could possibly be. If you guys want help with your own teams, think about checking out the Patreon. We're trying to get to a bunch of these posts before I leave for NAIC, and this is going up after I get back from NAIC, but I'm fixing it and giving it back as soon as I can. I think like a day after it was submitted here. So that being said, we're taking a look at this team right here. Really good stuff. It says, thank you so much for offering to fix our teams. I really enjoy your content and I'm looking forward to your overall thoughts on my team. Firstly, here are the rental and paste codes. So they submitted the rental and paste. If you guys have a rental code, I'm going to try my best to feature all the rentals in videos. If you guys have just a Pokepaste, I'm going to just fix those like immediately the same day that they're submitted and give them back. That being said, the basic concept I'm going for in this team is a Kyogre, Zacian Tail Room team. I was running Flutter Mane with Trick Room and Prism previously as a way of preventing auto losses to hard Calyrex Ice Red or Trick Room teams. This works pretty well because most opponents don't expect it, and it allowed me to counter Calyrex a lot more effectively. My friend recommended I trade in Indeedee Female so I can do something similar while also having the option to turn on Trick Room for hyper fast teams to prevent priority moves which are very threatening to Kyogre, so this is what I changed. I think their analysis is really good. I would say the only thing you might want to be wary of is I feel like you're really locking yourself into an only like ladder best of one close sheet mentality, and I feel like you can actually build a team that works good on ladder and good in open sheet at the same time. You don't have to like cheekily imprison things. Imprison is really good. You see us use imprison a lot, but it's not like the be-all end-all answer to Trick Room. It's a option to delay Trick Room that turn, which is what it should be used as, not a counter. That being said, we're going to continue reading. It says, I was using Lando before, but I decided to swap for Flame Orb Ursaluna for a really formidable Trick Room mode. It works really well when I lead Indeedee-F. Tera Fairy allows you to eat strong body type attacks and body presses. Yeah, they're rocking like Fairy Tera player of Ursa, which is sick, by the way. Really like that. I think there's still ways to optimize it, but you know, a good way to eat body presses from Zenta is just Ghost Tera, which is the standard way I would say is probably better to play Luna. They're saying I'm also thinking Kyogre might want to switch back to Tera Grass, but I'm not sure. I wonder if Hydro Pump might be better suited than Thunder. Looks like one of them is running Thunder, one of them is running Grass, I think. Amoonguss is here, potential Trick Room mode to disrupt with Spore and Rage Powder. I am not super tied to Amoonguss here, but I do appreciate the redirection for Thunderclaps. Yeah, I think Amoonguss is great. I think the Mons that you actually have for this team are perfect. I want to read their last little thing here. They say, I think the biggest flaw in this team is possibly the Eevees and maybe some of the Teras. I'm not sure where to start with damage calcs. With that said, I'm open to any and all suggestions. Thank you. Well, thank you for submitting the team. I guess what we're talking about. You got the Mons right. I think we need to change a few of these Teras and a bunch of these Eevees. If we were to take a look at this team's actual Eevees here, that's going to look something a little like, let's just make everything bigger so you guys don't have to squint to see this stuff. Look at this professional YouTuber. Also, by the way, think about dropping a sub if you guys like the content. We're doing a bunch of team fixings, bunch of cool stuff this month on Patreon, so think about checking that out. And back to the Eevees here. It looks like we're rocking 2v2 clubs on a lot of these Mons. So 2v2 here, this is wasting points, wasting its nature, stuff like that. 2v2 here, 2v2 here, definitely like wasting points in HP in my opinion. Incorrect Eevees that are being wasted in defense, and Spadef can be optimized, and then Kyogre 2v2. So it's not that they're bad Eevees. Like if I were to give you like, it's like a C minus Eevees, because like most of them function. You're only wasting points on a few of them on, so we can definitely optimize those, clean those up, and hopefully give you back a team that actually works really well. I think Kyogre is one of the best Mons for like a tail room type team, so I think you chose the right 6, and what we're gonna do right now is hop into some games and hopefully get some wins, playing the team the way it was submitted, and then after that we're gonna fix the team and then use that team in a few more games and kind of explain you know, the changes we made, why they worked or why they didn't work, and yeah, I just want to say sit back, max, relax, act all cool, and let's hop into some games. Wish me luck. Here we go. Alright, that's a really weird team going up against Kyogre Mirror, right? But then like Carbink, Clodsire. I feel like there's some sort of weird after you shenanigans. I think that Clodsire is actually a really hard matchup for Kyogre because we just can't really do anything against it if they are that water absorbed set. That being said, I think Amoonguss is pretty good into Clodsire. I think Amoonguss is pretty good into Carbink. I actually think like leading Amoonguss here is probably a good line. I think something like Amoonguss Zacian, that would lose really hard to like, no, it wouldn't lose hard to, I was going to say it would lose to Murkrow Kyogre, right? But then if we had the right Teras on Amoonguss like Dark Tera, it would be actually fine. What do I want to lead here? That is just a great looking question. I'm going to lead with the Zacian and the Amoonguss, and I'm going to force them to go Tailwind on me. And if they go Tailwind, we go into more of, like, the rest of our game mode. Maybe we fodder one of our pieces, come back, stagger that Tailwind, and try and win out. It's probably a good line. I don't think trying to out-Trick Room value this person is the correct play because we don't have the right Tera on our Ursaluna to actually outvalue Zenta. Fairy Tera is decent, right? It's decent. It's good at things like Miraidon, but against things like Zenta, they just start heavy slamming you, right? It's not great. So Rilla Kyogre is a really good lead for me, I think. Zacian and Amoonguss is great here. We can drop a double protect to scout what they want to do. Let's see. You're going to have to fake out this Zacian, bro. And they are not scarfed. No way they're fake out in the Amoonguss. They're fake out in the Zacian. They're keeping it completely honest. So we're just going to go drop a Protect here. One of the cool things about Protect here and then Spore is, let's say they make a read and fake out the Amoonguss and Water Spout. Amoonguss takes like 80% of its health that turn. Next turn, that's like, okay, fine. I'll just play off your Kyogre and then you can't do that, right? And if you want to protect and do something weird, that's fine. You might think this is a little bit greedy. It might be a little bit greedy, but at the same time, we're really punishing them, pivoting out that Rillaboom for something. Going turn 1 Tera, let's see if they go into something like a Grass Tera. Getting a Tera off the board here is amazing. It means I might not have to use Play Rough. I can now go for a Behemoth Blade. This is great. You see how, like, they're probably still fake out in the Zacian. Maybe I could have double protected Amoonguss here to play it like a little bit safer, but now they have like a weakness to Torn. If anything, if you get my Amoonguss off the board, that might even help me here. Fake out into Zacian, yep. So we're actually like not too behind here. I think we're doing okay. Big Spout. Let's see how much damage they're actually dealing here. That's either modest Mystic Water high roll or like low roll specs. It's really hard to tell. I think the right play here, this is where I like playing like a defensive Zacian, and this one is not defensive, so we're going to see how this works, but I'm going to go rip the Behemoth Blade into the Kyogre and try and side Pollen Puff. This is where double dipping our Fairy Tera and double dipping our Grass Tera probably aren't the right plays. You could say, well, you could double dip your Fairy Tera and then use Play Rough and do big damage. Well, yeah, but I don't want to miss that. And then, like, that also makes me neutral to Grassy Glide, which, if they would be going into, would be really bad. So, let's see what they're really doing here. Pivoting out Ogre for what? Murkrow. If you're not Sash, you're about to get popped, bro. Donkey Don. Oof. It is Sash. Great set. Let's see what they're doing here. Sash Murkrow is great. It is a very, very good set. My favorite set for it. Okay, Amoonguss does live. We get a wasted Pollen Puff into our Zacian, and then what? You bring back out Ogre? We're just going to protect Zacian, Spore into the Murkrow slot, lose the Amoonguss on that turn, bring out Torn, stagger Tailwind. This is where, well, it'd be a lot easier to stagger Tailwind if we had Dark Tera on our Torn, because now we're susceptible to Taunt there. I don't like this line for us. I don't like where this line is going. It's not looking good for our hero here. This forces them to have Taunt, which is fine. This Synthesis ain't doing us no favors, bro. Let's see what happens. If you got Taunt, you got Taunt on that Murkrow. But Murkrows usually have, like, Quash and other weird stuff like that. It's hard to say, though. I know on a Sash Murkrow, you tend to run, like, aggressive options. Like Sucker Punch, Brave Bird, more stuff like that. We're just going to get this Amoonguss off the board. Try and bring out our Torn, maybe. This might also be like the last turn of Rain. There might be like one more. I wonder how we should be playing this. I actually don't mind just going into Kyogre and soaking a little bit of damage. And it's weird that we have Electric Tera. Well, this Kyogre is not what was submitted at all. Bro, the one on the paste is like standard. Ice Beam, Grass Tera, Water Spout. The one that's on here is like Thunder, Electric Tera. That's too deep. I'm going to say that's too deep. I think on the actual team submission post, they did reference that they were using like a different Kyogre. I think the grass one is better. But that being said, I think the best play that we have here is to just Behemoth Blade, force that Taunt. This is where Dark Tera here would be absolutely amazing. Oh, we have Dark Tera. Oh, but it's not supposed to have Dark Tera. This whole paste is like wrong. We have the Dark Tera. I'm definitely going to be clicking it. Yeah, we take these. Good play on the game, in-game. Yes. See, you don't even need me, bro. The team you submitted, it works, right? It's pivoting again. Okay. this Rilla back in? We're trying to avoid that taunt, right? Zenta. Okay, so they got all the right mons. All right, so when this happens, right, I have no clue. We're like, all the mons are now off from the paste, so I don't know what to trust with this paste. I don't know if the EVs are right. I now don't know if they're bottle caps. It creates a really hard to find, you know, game plan for me to follow. Protect Murkrow, so no taunt. So probably Tailwind, Protect, Brave Bird, Sucker Punch. That's a standard set there. Okay. Maybe Rain Dance? That's not doing anything. Alright, so we're supposed to have Sacred Sword on this Zacian. Do you think we do? Oh, we do. Okay, cool gaming. This is where Icy Wind is value over the Bleakwind, I think, because you get the guaranteed stat drop on the Zenta, which will, in turn, make our Kyogre faster. Oh, you're just pivoting an Ogre on a Bleakwind, bro. Don't do that. Okay. He's trying to wait out the Tailwind and... Oh, it's Rilla. That's fair. Damn. We would have cooked here. That's a lot of damage. Ogre outspeeds now. I think we might still lose this one, but, like... What do you want me to do when, like, I have to manage, like, understanding the inconsistencies of the paste? Yeah, we don't have Protect on this Torn. I really think you should be running Protect in your Torn. I definitely would have protected there if that was an option. Because now what they're going to do is just wait out our Tailwind. The good news is we're going to be able to try and bully them before that happens. So let's see. What is the best way to do this? There's no more Grassy Terrain. Like, you can fake out my Zacian. That's that. Let's check out the turns on all of our Tailwinds. So I have 2 turns, and you have 1. So I'm going to rip... Oh, you got to PP max those water spouts too, homie. Very important, PP max those water spouts. If you would like to wide guard me, go nuts. We don't also even lose if, like, you know, things don't go our way. I think our Kyogre has a decent line to their Kyogre, but, like, I wouldn't have even brought our Kyogre if it was a Thunder variant into, like, the potential Grass one. Like, that's too dicey spicy for me. Let's see if they want to wide guard. We outspeed with both of our mons here. You have to fake out my Zacian, I think. The idea would be you fake out... Okay. You're just going to lose both of your mons. Yeah, we got to crit. You don't need it because we followed this up with a Spout. But, again, like, I'm hoping the EV spreads are right to outspeed the Zenta. There it is. Cool. All right, so now that should be game because you're gonna double protect, right? Are you gonna... Is this game? You're gonna double protect to wait up my last turn of my Tailwind. And then you're going to go Tailwind, Spout back. Which means our only out into that would be Protect Zacian, Thunder, Parry your Ogre. But that being said, we still get to attack this turn. So we're going to do that. And if you misplay it, I can win. Oh, man, I hate this new Pro Controller, by the way. Have you noticed? Anyone else know? Oh, I got to PP these moves, too. Yeah, I'm just not really vibing with these new Pro Controllers. They feel cheap. I like the old one better. Protect Murkrow, Prankster boosted, nice. Let's see if this Kyogre's feeling it, bro. Oh, misplay! We take those. Well, what do you want me to do, right? Dumpied on. And this should be a full speed Ogre that we got. And we still have a Tailwind up, so we got it. What does he think we're going to do? Hit the Murkrow? Dude, you drop the double protect. You re-Tailwind. I would have had to protect my Zacian, soak your Spout, Thunder, 30% chance parry your Ogre. If I do get the 30% chance, I just win with Zacian. We take those. All the way to the bank, those. All right, this is my now time that I have to actually make sure that this team is, like, correct. Here we go. I can take this time. That looks right. I mean, that's what was submitted. The Eevee's 2v2 clubbing it up, cool. And there's speed on this Amoonguss, which, like, is not supposed to have any of that. Oh, what is up with... I'm going to have some work cut out for me in this one. Holy moly. Like, I just don't know which team is correct, you know? But we take those wins. I think you had most of it right. I think that the Torn having Dark Tera is actually the right Tera in the situation, so you don't get pinned in those, like, situations where they get up their speed control first and you still need to bring out your Prankster setter so you don't just lose to a Prankster taunt or Prankster encore for that matter. I think that You know, the Kyogre probably would still be better off as grass. I understand the reasoning behind the electric Tera, but that's something that actually really only works in like a closed sheet best of 1 situation. We want to make you a better player over time, and being able to mitigate a wide variety of damage and have that grass Tera to make sure you're actually like immune to like spores and still have a good matchup into the mirror defensively would probably be the best way moving forward. That being said, we're going to go into another game and see if we win and see if we can find out any other inconsistencies about this team. Let's get right into it. All right, this guy's actually ranked top 100 player. That's kind of ridiculous that that's their team at top 100, but it makes sense. Very, very like hard to deal with Trick Room team, and we just don't have a lot of good Trick Room tools. Indeedee's there to flip the TR back. They potentially have Wide Guard on Lunala. Saw the Smeargle stuff. Our Torn's not valuable, but it might make it look like we have outs. So like we can lead something like Torn Ogre, and they might think that we have like Taunt. And if that's the case, we might just be able to rip like Bleakwind Spout and KO them, right? I think that's one of our outs. We need to play very aggressive into this matchup. Man, Amoonguss we just don't have the tools here. Like we do not have the right tools to win this matchup, I don't think. But that being said, we're going to do our best and see what we can get done. Top 100 player playing a really, really good hard Trick Room team, close sheet ladder. This should not be winnable. We're trying our best though. This might make them, like, if they lead, like, Indeedee, Kali-I, and they have the wrong Teras, we might be able to just win on the first turn. Alright, awesome. This is fine. So they're going to be respectful, I think, of a lot of options. I think what I'm going to do here is kind of want to pivot out something. I'm making it look like I have Taunt. That's what I'm trying to do here. You're going to have Fake Out. You might have Spore. Yeah, you know what? We're going to rip the Band-Aid. I forgot we have one Grass Tera. That's so frustrating. Yeah, Fake Out. Go nuts. Wide Guard. Go nuts. Wide Guard's good play. I can't stop that. There's no out here for us. Like we don't have any other options. We don't have a Hydro Pump. You can go for a Trick Room. I think that's okay. And then we're going to pivot in Indeedee, block the Moongeist Beam, flip the Trick Room back, go for our Bleakwind. You know, we have outs, but they're just really, really hard to deal with. When the Wide Guard's on the Smeargle like that, it's rough. And we're going to see if it's an Eject Pack Smeargle, because that's a pretty standard one. Meteor Beam. Okay. No Trick Room. Okay. We have Zacian. Oh, he missed. Ha 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 ha. Defense boost. Special attack drop. No Moody. Okay. Alright, so the only way that we win is if like they don't click Wide Guard again. If they like think they follow me or protect or do something different. We just don't have any other outs, right? They're probably thinking like I could probably just click Wide Guard again. That's probably they know it's not Scarf Ogre. But they're probably thinking like I would mix it up here and do something different. Like we could go for a Thunder here. I just don't really have any other options, honestly. Playing with what tools I have. Here's a Tera. So let's see if they Wide Guard again. See, they might do something different, right? Is this Fairy? Grass. Okay, they have to be Wide Guarding again, because like Bleakwind would just be in the face. Bleakwind to the face. Oh my gosh, they didn't. Look at this guy, bro. He's like, what? I could have just Wide Guarded, bro. You gotta keep honest out here, bro. Okay, you can trigger me. It's a good play. I ain't got no other options. Moongeist Beam, cool. And that's going into Torn or Ogre. Torn, awesome. That's great. Yeah, we just bring an Indeedee here. I think Indeedee is the right play here. I really like Zacian here though too. I like Zacian with the Indeedee as a pivot for either of these mons to stop a Moongeist Beam. Because they have Kali-I, and now they've wasted their Tera. Great. That is good, is good, is good. Is that one all going to have Wide Guard too on Meteor Beam? Because like you can go Wide Guard, do the Indeedee. I guess the right play in that situation would be something like Behemoth Blade here and Spout. Because if you're sashed, you're sashed. And this would force a follow me if you had it. Cool. Yeah, we're gaming. Follow me, Wyguard Tech. Yeah, you got to know how to put pressure on these Trick Room teams. Like, you got to force them to be this tall to ride every single time. Rocky Helmet sucks, but it's fine. Dunzo. Top 100 player. We beat them by just stubbornly bulldozing through. So it's like, I guess like maybe this might not be the best video to show how to fix a team, but it might be a good video to show that you can actually win with anything if you try and make it work. Like, you know, we don't have the right Teras on this like Amoonguss that normally beat TR. Normally you'd want like a Water Tera here to be able to soak the Glacial Lance and punish that back. Normally you'd want like a Ghost Tera here. But that being said, that guy could have just clicked Wyguard. We could have just lost. And he tried to get a little bit too cute. And we're like, bro, you gotta be this tall to ride. GG's. Shake my hand. Sucks to suck, right? No, that's fine. Let's actually go into the team fixing now. It's about time we get to some fixing here. And I think we've understood, like, a lot of the good and bad things about this team. I think, for the most part, the Mons that you picked are correct. The thing that we really need to work on here are the EVs. I think you also talked about that a little bit in your paste. Like, you need help with the EVs. You also talked about using, like, Lando and a couple other things. I think the Mons that you chose were actually very, very good. There's a lot of synergy there. But like you said, the biggest flaw in this team is probably EVs, maybe some Teras. And you're absolutely right. So you're just on the right track. We just need to fine-tune it a little bit. So that being said, let's start off with Kyogre, right? I think there's a lot of value in like a full speed Kyogre, but I don't think you need to be full speed anymore. I think you really only have to be about here. This lets you outspeed Adamant Ursh and things that speed creep Adamant Ursh by 1. So if you're going to be against Urshy Dark and they're Adamant and they're Sash, you can outspeed them, and that's great. And what this does is it frees us up just a little bit of points, just about that much points to be able to do with whatever we please. You may think like, oh, I don't want to lose Kyogre speed ties. And that's true. You could go back to full speed Kyogre if you want, but you know, you have Icy Wind here, Bleakwind here. You also aren't as fast, so if you know that they're running full speed Kyogre and based off like a game 1 play, if you're playing in a best of 3, you can use this as a Trick Room option. I think another thing that we could also do, let's just talk about our other options. Actually, let's come back to Kyogre a little bit later on in the team builder and do a completely different EV spread and show you guys something really cool that you can do. Let's start with Zacian. So the first thing we want to do is make sure Zacian's in its crowned form, just because like this is the EVs that we're going to be making it work with. I think you had the moveset the right way. You had Protect, you had Sacred Sword, you saw we used that. We had Play Rough here, and we have Behemoth Blade right here. And don't forget to PP max all these moves. Very, very important. I think the thing with Zacian is you don't need to be full speed, because Zacian mirrors are so uncommon. You just need to be able to outspeed base 135s and 136s, I would say. Stuff like Iron Bundle. So if we go into like a little damage calculator here, we have Iron Bundle. So let's go Iron. Where's my big bundle boy? So a big bundle set would look something like this. Set level 50. It's going to be 206. And this is just if there's like no terrain involved. So let's say like you're leading against an Iron Bundle Miraidon, you pivot an Indeedee, you take away its terrain. This lets you outspeed that. So you need to outspeed 206. Now the cool thing about that is you don't need to use all your speed stats for that. You can drop all the way down here to 206, which is there. You can outspeed it by 1, and then honestly, since you're outspeeding it by 1, you might as well put in 1 more to speed creep things that are speed creeping Iron Bundle. And Zacian, that's actually where Zacian gets the bump, which means it gets an extra point when you combine the fact that nature is a 10% boost to your stats and just points. So you might as well get to go to the 209 on Zacian. Some people now, since this is such a common speed tier with Zacians, they're actually going to 210, which yeah, so really this is the right set here, as opposed to just something like putting 76 points just in HP. You're going to be able to cut that last 8 that is using the 76 for getting 1 point up into 2 sets of 4 here. So this is going to let you still have the same, this is going to let you still have the same, like, speed tier that you had before, the same attacks that you had before, but now we just have a little bit more bulk that we didn't have before. Very, very solid set. We're going to fix our Tera at the end. Indeedee. I think you don't really need Imprison here. I don't think you need Imprison. I think you actually can just flip a Trick Room back if you use the correct Tera on Indeedee. Steel Tera is actually not bad. It lets you just soak damage from that Glacial Lance and flip it back. Water Tera is the standard one, but we don't really need it. So I think this is fine. I think the Indeedee that you had Rocky Helmet. I think that's safe. So you want these moves here. I don't mind Protect here. I think Helping Hand, though, is probably just a little bit better. It's going to let you get big pins with like your Zacian and your Kyogre you wouldn't normally have. So that's probably a little bit better there. And then as for EVs, you see these 8 points aren't really doing us any value here. The way it works is like the first 4 points matter, and then after that it's every 8. So something like 4, 12, 20, that's where that's going to work. But we really want to be putting our points into our defense here. And so I think that like if you were to put your points in defense, and while you're also there, be sure to make your speed 0, speed speed reduced, so you're always potentially speed tying or winning those like speed ties with things like Rillaboom and stuff like that. I think it's really, really important. You don't want any speed on those Trick Room reversal mons. We want to see where Indeedee gets the bump, which is right there. You want that extra point. At this point, you're already living anything, and like you can just put those extra points into Spadef. This is the solid Indeedee spread. You're going to see this all over the place. Some people even like to go Alluring Voice here. You're probably thinking that you need Psychic to be able to pin like Urshi Water, but they're not just going to let you Psychic them. And you should be able to pin Urshi Water with this, this redirects. You should be fine. So Alluring Voice is really good because it lets you weed into things like Zenta, things like Shadow Rider. If Zenta gets that +1 off the, Rusted Shield proc at the start of the game, Shadow Riders tend to go for like nasty plots in front of Indeedees because there's not that much else they can do. I really like this. I really like it also against like Terapagos. If they're going to go Calm Mind, you just confuse them. So very, very solid stuff right here. As for Torn, I really think that you want Protect over Icy Wind. You may be thinking, I really like the speed drop, and I used Icy Wind in one of the games. I think that you can, if you want speed drops that badly, just 30% chance lower their speed with Torn. Pretty good stuff. But Protect, being able to elongate the effectiveness of your Tailwind, protecting on the last turn of your Tailwind is going to be really, really important on something like this. I really, really recommend this. And I would also change this to something like a Sash. This is the set that I would use right here. Now you're probably thinking like, well, now they can fake out you. It's like, well, then you got to Protect, right? You would go Protect with this, Protect with your teammate, then Tailwind. Easy peasy. They can't Encore you if you want to go for Dark Tera. This is the safest way to do all of this. And the reason why we actually want like a Sash on a Torn here is because anytime you're using a Mon that a Speed Control Mon specifically that has two things that it wants to do. It wants to Tailwind and it wants to Rain Dance. That means you need 2 turns to do it, which means you need to force them to be doubling up into you to stop you from doing both, which is going to effectively make Protect baits a lot better, and then you're going to be able to trade a lot easier and be able to go for those Tailwinds and those Rain Dances, maybe even weave in a Bleakwind. It's going to be easier to maintain the speed control with the Sash Torn, and we weren't using a Sash anywhere else, so I would definitely recommend Sash in that slot. Because what happens is when you have Torn with a Cloak on a team like this, they're just not going to fake out the Torn. They're going to fake out your Zacian. They're going to fake out your Ogre, which could, and then could turn... make it so like you can pivot out your teammate for Indeedee and stuff like that, but then you don't have your speed control. I think this is a good set, and there's nothing really wrong with it. Here's the Ursaluna here. So Ursaluna is wasting a lot of points. Getting a nature into defense when you have this attack stat that needs its nature, not right. Wasting a lot of points in HP. So with Ursas, you actually drop your HP all the way down to around here. This is going to make it so you're taking the correct amount of damage from your Flame Orb at the end of every single turn. You have such a massive HP stat. This is still like higher than like Indeedee's stats, than like Kyogre's base HP. This is still, it has such a high base HP. You don't need to be putting that many points into there. And then from there, I like to drop my Ursas to right around like here-ish. Right here is where I tend to drop most of my Ursas. I sometimes even take a little bit more out sometimes, and that allows me to go with like full Spadef, like massive Spadef on these guys, and they just soak damage. You let the fact that you already have a massive defense do a ton of the heavy lifting, and you just put like a ton of those points into Spadef. That's how I like to play this Mon. I also like to play this with the speed reduced 0 speed, so you can correctly play it in TR. And yeah, I think it's a fine set. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of defense in these guys, but I think recently with how the meta's been looking, I like these guys fat on the Spadef side. You go to a really neutral Tera, something like a Ghost Tera into, a wide variety of stuff, but also still good into that Zenta, and then you're good to go. I actually still like to run Earthquake here. And the fact that you have like a flying type here, you can Protect with all of your other mons except for your Indeedee, like it's going to really allow you to close out games with this Earthquake. Very, very solid stuff, and this is going to be able to trade really well with a lot of guys. So I would say this is very, very solid. As for the Amoonguss, right? Synthesis is not doing us any favors. It's also not going to be healing a lot in the rain. So this needs to be Protect. You almost had it. You almost knocked it out of the park. Protect is the right play on Amoonguss here. And then you got to be speed reduce 0 speed. It's not a question of like you should be, you need to be. Don't use these mons if you can't be 0 speed on them. It's really, really important if you want to play it in a Trick Room mode. And then Amoonguss also doesn't really need to be full HP. Right around here is going to be still able to live through like a final Gambit Annihilate and redirect correctly. You're also wasting some points here. At 80s, the middle ground in between 76 and 84. I think Mental Orb is a good option here, but anything that would have Taunt, you'd be able to Prankster Taunt like block with Indeedee, so you actually don't need Mental Orb here. I think Citrus, it might actually be a better one here. I know that the Kalis are still really problematic, but like this is really good into like a wide variety of stuff, especially if you flip on like that Water Tera with this guy. So that being said, 0 speed, speed reduced. I think that the fact that our Indeedee's heavy defense means that our Amoonguss could actually go a little bit more heavy into Spadef as well. Let's just see where that bump happens. with the Amoonguss. Take these points all the way down here. So right around, where is it? We're looking right there on the Amoonguss. And you get an extra 36 points in defense you wouldn't have had before. Really solid stuff. Nothing too spectacular like home about. This Amoonguss is going to be really, really good, especially in the Kyogre mirror, to soak those spouts, soak those ice beams, heal your teammates, spore opposing Kyogre teammates. Really, really solid stuff. I like this. And now we're back to the Kyogre. Now you can keep this same Kyogre spread. Screenshot it. Feel free to look at it. This is what a fast Kyogre looks like. But I think because you have access to like the Trick Room mode here, you should be trying to play a little bit of a bulkier Ogre, which actually looks something like this. You drop all your speed down to be 121. This is going to be still able to outspeed Shadow Riders if you have a Tailwind up, Zacians, all those other things. And also, it's going to be able to outspeed Genies like Torn if you get a Bleakwind stat drop on them, if they're like not Covert Cloak. So this is still fast. Like, it's still fast. It's just not as fast as the other one. Things you're not outspeeding are things like Adamant Ursh, Landos, Goldangos. Those aren't really that common. You see, we're still kind of functioning at the same speed tier. We're not outspeeding the fast things, but now we're afforded the luxury of going with a modest nature, which we have to drop a little bit out. So you remember before, we had that, which is 202. We can actually still get that 202 if we wanted, and it only costs that. Let's play to our bump and get a little bit more out of it. Right there, so 156, and then we're afforded the luxury of all these extra points. Kyogre generally does want to go like heavy HP investment. I'm going to go to 2. Let's see, the highest we can go is 207, which is the same as Rillaboom, so there's no really reason to play for like Grassy Terrain recovery here, but like 244, probably 20, and then 4 would probably be about right. I like this set a lot. I think that this is very bulky and deceptively bulky. And then I like the Ice Beam over the Thunder. I don't think Thunder is like ever really the play. Ice Beam's better. You actually just outvalue their Kyogre now if they have a more aggressive Ogre with like Origin Pulses and Water Spouts. And then if they flip on that Grass Terror, you just start punishing with Ice Beam. I also like this into Koraidon as well. Forces the Koraidons to keep them honest. Forces those Fire Terrors. So even if it is sunny, you still Origin Pulse them. So I like these changes a lot more. If you like the aggressive Kyogre spread, just scroll back and see if you can go find it. But I think this is good. I think this is going to give us a lot of good, solid options. What we're going to do right now is go play some games with this team and see if we can get some wins. So hopefully we can. And yeah, let's go. Let's go right into this. It's going to be Reg I because we were playing this for Close Sheet. Wish me luck. Here we go. Here we go on Showdown. Going up against Tornadus, Shadow Rider, Torkoal. Ditto is really hard for Zacian to beat, so I'm just not going to go into that. It looks like this guy does lose the TR if we play our Kyogre correctly. So that being said, we probably want to try that. I think that Torn Ogre is actually really good here because we can threaten. We're going to put Kyogre in the first slot, and then Torn in the second slot in case they incorrectly use Ditto. And then from there, I think Ursa is good into Shadow Rider, and then I think that we could actually get a lot of value off of Amoonguss, especially because we have the Water Tera in case we are massively pinned by that Torkoal. I like that. I don't think we actually want to bring Indeedee here. I know that sounds really weird, but like they have Indeedee, we don't really need it. We're just going to go Amoonguss here. Maybe heal our Kyogre and stuff. So then one of the reasons why we're still safe here is they're like, huh, look at us. I let the sun, and the sun stops the Kyogre, but now we actually have the chunk to be able to just click Origin Pulse and just Tailwind or Rain Dance over it. We don't need to do anything weird here. There's nothing that I'm really happy that Torkoal's already on the board because even if they pivot it, like there's nothing that wants to eat this. And what are they gonna do? Like Specs Astral? Solar Beam! That ain't it, bro. No, that's not it. Yo, Jank Stopper. Jank stopped. Wow. What? And now we just Tailwind and win. Hey, you know what? He's doing his best. All right, Water Spout, Tailwind to get over Eternus, even if it's Scarfed. Actually, we might still. No, we would not. Oh, let's see what happens. I don't care what happens. You gone, bro. He's Scarfed. He's Scarfed Shadow Rider Solar Beam. That's so funny, bro. Yeah, because that's the only way a Shadow Rider actually outspeeds. That's crazy, bro. And then what's the last mon? Is it Ditto into this slot? Yep, there's the Ditto. So this is probably fine. I think we can just Spout and probably Bleakwind and probably be in a good spot. We have all the right mons in the back. Spout's a little bit weaker. You can actually see on Showdown, like, Spout is a little bit weaker. I'll Origin Pulse, it's fine. It sucked to miss, but, you know, it's okay. Bleakwind always going to get those big hits. Mystic Water, miss! Resisted. Yo, never lucky, right? He's going to start setting up relatively soon. All right, we got to start hitting some Origin Pulses into that Eternatus, bro. Eternatus, go away, please. Single target. Origin Pulse. We'll be able to get the KO, I think. Yeah, let's see. And their Ditto is stuck. Probably. He's Orb Ditto. Wow. Yeah, he's done. We hit the Origin Pulse. Single target, kind of good. So we're stronger, we're bulkier. Your Kyogre that you had submitted would have gotten KO'd by now. So that's funny we got that win though. But Scarf Solar Beam Shadow Rider was not on the bingo card. That is absolutely nuts. Let's go to another one though and see if we can keep the win streak alive. Reshiram Pecharunt. These people are busting out all the top drawer stuff. But we see the bundle in the Miraidon. Those are very standard. I think that Trick Rooming this guy is probably the right play. So I'm going to lead off with Indeedee, and maybe something that makes them over-respect a certain slot. So like Zacian Indeedee seems really good. We're going to fodder the Zacian, and then come in with our Ursaluna and our Kyogre. I really, really like that. We could also lead something like Amoonguss Indeedee and go just like, follow me Spore. Like, what do? You don't really have a line into that. So let's see what they want to do here. Pecharunt here is another reason why we don't want to... Actually, their line would be pivoting the Pecharunt and stuff like that. Secondary terrain user, but we're not playing that game. They're going to lead with those two. Holy moly, they wanted all the terrain coverage. Bro, that man said, I have terrain control. Terrain controlled. Wow. Okay, so we really think, like, what is the play here? I'm not really afraid of that thing. If you double open immunity, that sucks. I'm just going to pivot in the Ursa, go for a TR, and then get ready to start closing out things with Earthquake. I think they're going to be respectful of Zacian. Yep, that's a ground type. That's why Ursaluna, like you were talking about, is like the perfect mon on this team. I think you said you had like a Lando before, but like, oh, that just cooks here. And like, honestly, we could just Earthquake out here, like Helping Hand EQ out into our Indeedee. Like, bye Indeedee. That's fine, Liquidate. I don't care. We're really bulky. Dunzo, bro. Get got. And now I still have a Follow Me if I want it. Like, oh my gosh. Yes, please. TUI. There's the bundle. That's going to be sashed. Let's see. I'm going to Follow Me and a Headlong Rush. I think that's fine. Yep. Let the Indeedee go down. Trade with the Iron Boulder. See if they Icy win. Nope, they just Ice Beam one. Not even Freeze Drive. But this guy's cooking, bro. But that's game. Not that much they can really do about it. Headlong Rush and Water Spout. You can't stop both. You Headlong Rush over Facade because you don't want to get Ghost Terra'd. Easy peasy. Weird team, but you see how like we just had the lines in like Miraidon either way. Cool. One more game with this team. And hopefully you're liking this. I think this is a pretty cool team. I like the changes that we made. This is very, very standard, right? Kind of weird to see no Weezing. They have like Incin over there. That's kind of weird. That being said, I usually think you can lead Kyogre in a lot of these. I think Torn Ogre is very viable here. Being able to just say like, hey, it's weather control time. Weird to see no Flutter too. I think that we could Trick Room this if we really felt like it, but I like Zacian here. I know that sounds kind of weird. I don't know if we need a Amoonguss. I'll bring the Indeedee. There's a decent amount of single target here. We might lose this one. This is a very standard looking team. Calyrex Shadow and Incin. So double protects are on the cards for us here. And then like a double protect. I want to see if they pivot in like Caradon maybe. We could even just pivot in Indeedee and just blow up Cali. No, double protect is good. Fake out Kyogre, correct? Astral. Okay. I'm going to Tailwind here. I'm going to soak the damage here, but I'm going to Spout. If you want to pivot out and Sin for Caradon, like, go nuts. Go nuts. That's all you. We're trying to use Zacian to close, but we need to break the Shadow right. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Okay. That's you, bro. Encore. Yeah, I will actually continue to Water Spout. Actually, yes, I will. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know what I'm going to do next time? I'm going to Rain Dance. It's going to get worse for you before it gets better. Holy moly. And that's game. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Encore's pretty good, but like that's... And so the Kyogre still is faster than the Shadow Rider. Like you saw, I don't think he was expecting us to be as fast in the Tailwind. Even from like our bulky Kyogre set. He's going to protect. That's fine. Rain Dance, now our Bleakwind hits. Cool. Last Mon is going to be what? Chi-Yu maybe? It could be Bonnet. Yeah, that's Bleakwind. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Man, this team is so good. Torn Kyogre is so good. And like I said, I think you really were very close on the team that was submitted. It's just like we optimized the EVs. We changed some of the Teras, the things that you said you wanted help with. Maybe, hopefully I gave you a better understanding of some of the flow charts for this team. But yeah, this guy's Citrus on the Brute Bonnet. It's not going to be able to do that much. Seed Bomb, don't care. Bleakwind Spout everywhere. GG's. So pretty good stuff. I like this team. I'd feel comfortable playing this team in like a tournament. I'd feel comfortable playing with it on ladder. I think one other thing, if you really wanted to, give yourself like a completely other option. If you don't like the Tornogre options, if you don't like the Indeedee options with like Zacian, you might want to tend to look into like Indeedee Kyogre leads and like maybe like if you're struggling with like Bolt, make them like over respect the Kyogre, pivot in those Ursas, kind of like we did in like this game over here. And then from there, just like close out with Indeedee. But I think like Indeedee Ogre threatens like a lot of those balance teams. If your opponents are leading like Rilla and Sin, Grim, stuff like that, just lead Indeedee Ogre. Follow me if you need to, but just go Helping Hand Spout. Just close them out of the game. Super, super easy to play. Love this stuff. If you guys have a team you guys want some help with, think about checking out the Patreon. I'm trying my best to get to all these. I think this one's actually probably going to be going up after NAIC, but I'm recording it before NAIC. I'm giving back the Pokepaste before NAIC. I'm trying to get to all of these before I actually leave to NAIC, and I'm down to help anyone that wants help on Patreon. We're doing a bunch of team fixings, and we're going to be doing team fixings the whole week we get back too, so think about letting me know if you guys want some help and Patreon. And other than that, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little team fixing, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.